So I'm really happy to welcome you all, and particularly Sigitas, who's going to speak to us today. His project entered for the Triple ID Awards 23 was absolutely fascinating. Won an award. I think, did it win the top prize? That's right. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's really interesting. And he's practicing designer. He finished a PhD last year on explanatory strategies and information design. And this project was one of his PhD projects, which he's going to describe to us now. And what I'm hoping is that as we listen to the presentation, we can think of things to discuss about it, the ways we could apply it. It's an intriguing project, and I'm thinking, how could I use this in my work, or where would it be most effective, and how can I learn from it and do things a bit like this to humanize data visualization? So if you've got any questions, do put them into chat. While people are still joining us, I'll also just mention that we're here as part of our regular Triple ID conversations. It's the first Thursday of every month. It's generally at 1500 UTC, which is this interesting time zone nobody lives in. And we're going to have a holiday in August, but look out for further events for September and onwards. So a few more people have joined us. So Sigitas, please go ahead, share your screen.
Thank you. Is it visible?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for having me here. Thank you for that nice presentation of my project. Okay, in today's presentation, I will provide the context in which bioprinter was born, and then discuss the project's development and share some findings from that. Before talking about the bioprinter, I would like to present myself in few sentences, few my works. I'm a graphic designer based in Vilnius, Lithuania. I work in the fields of exhibition design and packaging design. Recently, I started creating informational experience projects, and one of them is a bioprinter. So you can see on the screen now some of my few projects. It's quite recent. One is for exhibition design for Chinese art. Another one is Energy and Technology Museum. This project was finished last year. Besides of design practice, I do some research work. I finished a PhD thesis last year. So I'm interested in images that perform an explanatory function. Basically, it's information design. For that reason, I finished my artistic research. It was called Explanatory Strategies in Information Design. The research was conducted in Vilnius Academy of Arts. And now I will try to present some slides about the bioprinter project. An inspiration or creative problem for bioprinter came from idea of reduction. As we know, it is an important principle used in information design or in the field of data visualization. To visualize data, we use simple graphic shapes like lines, basic geometrical figures, and these elements represents various objects or phenomena. It could be social relations, weather conditions, humans, cars, or cities, etc. Such a principle allows to facilitate cognitive process. It helps revealing patterns recorded in the data. Graphic data visualizations have a very pragmatic nature. However, according to the media theorist Lev Monovich, the price we pay for this is a strong reduction of phenomena. The reduction principle applied in data visualizations has served as a motivation to experiment with different forms of data expressions. This is because the rich experiential qualities of reality are simplified into the basic geometric shapes. As a visual communication designer, my aim was to broaden the interpretive potential of data representation by incorporating multiple human senses. Considering the modern available technologies like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, or electronic prototyping devices, the idea proved to be practically, I tried to exploit it in the practice. For my design project, I choose data on climate change sourced from the European Environmental Agency. It was a report. The report includes data and graphical visualizations, and the displayed data maps represent projected changes in the precipitation from the year 2071 to 2100. Notably, we observed a significant decrease in summer precipitation in the southern part of Europe, while central part is expected to maintain a similar level of precipitation. Additionally, there is an increase in the amount of precipitation projected for the northern part of Europe. Here is marked in the blue color. After selecting the data, I was looking for a creative idea. The creative idea came from the walking outside, where I noticed how the moss between the pavement tiles periodically dried or recovered or started to grow. I observed that in dry periods, the moss undergoes changes in the shape and color. However, after rainfall, it quickly recovers within a few days and begins to thrive. I came to a realization that moss serves as a visual expressive indicator of moisture in the environment. As I observed these changes in the appearance, the idea of utilizing moss to embody precipitation data emerged instantly. Undoubtedly, the design process posed its challenges, as it required a comprehensive understanding of the moss characteristics, its moisture and light requirements, the right soil selection, and its adaptability into indoor growth. After conducting multiple tests, I successfully identified the most suitable type of moss, one that can be effectively controlled and it exhibits visually notable changes. This moss variety is widespread across the globe, making them easily recognizable to the audience. After a series of experiments, a local ecosystem was created and the moss was introduced into it. Here is an example of one of my exhibitions in the SPA Center, as I remember. With the establishment of this ecosystem, the rain map's texture began to take shape within a few months. The growth of drying of the moss was directly affected by the moisture amount regulated in accordance of the rainfall data. This serves as an initial prototype for data visualization, or rather data embodiment. It was called the living map or rain map. It has been showcased in several exhibitions in Lithuania, also in the Netherlands. As I previously mentioned, within a few months in the local ecosystem, the moss transformed into the data visualization that reflects the environmental changes in the continent. This rain map gives the viewer the impression of the existence of the phenomena embedded in the data. The decrease in rainfall is visually depicted through the presence of dried moss, while areas with predicted normal rainfall exhibit flourishing moss growth. Thus, the viewer can not only observe the phenomena, but also experience, feel it tactilely. The depth zones of the map representing areas affected by drought could be characterized by sharp and pointed shapes, vivid textures, muted brown colors, and lower relief. In contrast, regions experiencing normal rainfall exhibit vibrant colors, soft and gentle textures, and structured plant forms reminiscent of the thriving environment. This physical representation of data evokes a series of associations and prompts viewers to contemplate the encoded phenomenon. Observers on the map can envision the stark contrast between nature's decline in some geographical areas and in flourishing in others. Okay, afterwards, I made the decision to enhance the project by developing more refined and controlled system capable achieving of higher imaging precision. My focus shifted towards depicting the climate change scenario specific to Lithuania. Despite our country's abundant water resources, the occurrence of droughts appears to be inevitable. To visualize this data, I constructed a device resembling a conventional printer, featuring working surface composed of biopixels. They are arranged in the matrix structure, each embedded with the more spores. You can see the scheme on the device and the data map to be visualized. It's on the right side. It's in Lithuanian. It's a map from Lithuanian Meteorological Service. In the bioprinted device, dormant pixels can be activated by moisture. The interaction between moisture and the biopixels resembles that of a ninja printer, gradually revealing the image. It gave me an idea for the name of the project, bioprinter. Now each biopixel possesses the capability to express data value through colors, height, and withered or lush plants. Bioprinter has a potential to generate more precise data visualizations. And here I will show short video documentation showcasing the bioprinter in actions. I brought back in from the exhibition that was in another city, and I made some documentation with my phone, so sorry for the quality of the video. Okay. So, I'd like to conclude my presentation with some reflections that I've gained through the development of this project. It's an attempt to view data visualizations from the artistic perspective, opening up new methods for transforming data into emotional, aesthetic experiences. It offers a richer palette of interpretations. The data visualizations created by a bioprinted device transcend the scientific representation of rainfall and enter the different horizon of perception, the everyday human perspective. By overlaying an experiential layer onto dry data, it creates an informational experience and aims to capture the attention of a broader audience. According to the hermeneutic philosopher John Caputo, the choice of media can enrich the interpretation of data, allowing us to provide viewers not only with a rational interpretation, but also a data narrative, an experience. This kind of data visualizations serves as a platform for engaging in discussions on current topics or actual topics. So, okay, so I think I'm finished my presentation. Thank you one more time for having me here. Probably should stop sharing, yeah?
Okay, hey, thank you. I've got a quick question. Well, other people think of theirs. Yes, we're doing some applause there. Thank you very much. I'm trying to work out how big this is. When you showed the printer, it seemed quite small, but when I saw the illustration of the whole map, it seemed quite big. How big is this map of Europe you showed?
It's half meter and half meter. It's a square. Like it's
Okay.
1.5 meter, 1.5 and 1.5. So it's
so the
one biopixel is here. The scale for references. I have just two of them.
Okay. Yeah.
It's one biopixel.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And how long does it take? So how long between the water and the green?
And it depends on the green. This map that I showed before, it was 2 months from the dormant biopixel, which is just more spores. And after 2 months, it starts to grow, and it grows constantly. depending on the moisture, if I put more moisture, it goes faster. If I put less, it goes less faster. So you can just control even the relief.
Anybody got any questions at this point? So it's not just me. Erin first.
Hello, good morning. First of all, like, wow.
Yeah, wow.
We are not practicing the same kind of data visualization. That's incredible. It's interesting to me how to have it be a human experience. It's very local. You know, people have to be in the room with it. And so much of the work is online. And I'm wondering if for you, to humanize data, if it has to be that local experience.
Yeah, I was thinking because one of my motivations to that such project, it was because a lot of now images we see through the screen, my idea was to make something more physical, to contact with a human direct, to make a direct contact, because you can go to the printer, you can touch this map, to smell it, just to feel how it's soft. So you give all palette of interpretations. So yeah, the problem could be reachability. Yeah, because on the screens you can share the idea, I don't know, in the second 1,000 screens. In this case, it could be a limited amount of audience, but I think the effect is much more deeper than you can see the same on the screen. So if I could have opportunity to show you this in alive, maybe it will give you big impression than on the screen. So that could be my answer.
Catherine, you had a question, I think.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for the presentation's fascinating project. And I love the tangibility, you called it humanist, but it's actually plant-based. So it's kind of like an environmental experience, and there's a kind of component of emotion and well-being. I just love that. I wonder if you have future applications in mind. Could it go bigger? Do you foresee something that could be in an interior context? Does the watering mechanism need to be on top of it? Could it be a media wall? You know, I'm just thinking about what your thoughts are on the future possibilities for this.
Yeah, this project still quite a conceptual level. If you put investments in it, it would be much bigger, because I have an idea to make it like like a stadium. You can place robots, yeah, these small machines that going and printing something, I don't know, the logo of football players, because this printer have an opportunity to print I don't know, typography or image which has abstract. If you don't place the pixels or place the material made from the spores, from more small spores, it could print some graphics. So probably it has potential to be like a plant-based printer. So amount of the size probably depends on the investments.
I could imagine a school. You don't necessarily need a printer in a school classroom. You could set this up, and every day somebody's job is to water the cells where it's been raining.
Yeah, it could be used in agriculture.
Yeah, and I've also I find myself thinking, well, what if it wasn't just about rain? What if it was about forest fires and drought, and where I don't know quite how you do that, or even melting ice, where you're not watering things, you've got a blowtorch or something like that to heat them up.
Yeah, the laser.
Yeah.
It was, you know, that the idea, it's effective because it's like a printer, but it's not regular printer. It prints the dyes, not like normal printer uses. It's like, you know, the material of expression is plants, so it's main point of it, of this printer. Yeah.
Oh, am I on? Yeah.
Yes.
One of the slides, that's pictures you showed, is how incredibly healthy watered moss looks like. I mean, it really is sparkling green. It's absolutely fantastic. The color of is very vibrant green. It will be very difficult to paint that vibrancy, which is fantastic. But my question or point is if you go into a city center and you look at the health of trees, you have a similar experience that if you have a large park in the city center with large healthy trees, it's an indication of a healthy environment. And recently, I think it was the city of Rotterdam, but in the Netherlands, but it might have been another city, they've found out that if they plant birch trees next to the car roads into the city center, that there's a sticky substance on the back of the leaves that actually collects the fine particles, the dust from diesel engines and from car fumes. The strange thing is that those trees also look very healthy. And the annoying thing is they should not look healthy. I mean, they're in the worst place possible. So I would love to see those trees as indicators of the health of the city. And that's what you showed so vibrantly with the moss. But that's only the water you determine. It would be nice to develop that also with, like Rob said, fires and fine particles, and have a diesel engine right next to it.
You know, the most this biopixels which looks like hyper healthy.
Yeah.
It's because of the light I use. It's interaction because distilled water and the light, because it has specific. It imitates the sun, the spectrum of the sun. So it's probably for them it's quite good environment to flourish. Because if I stop watering, they dry, and after that period, if I start watering again, they become alive again. So they are quite flexible to the moisture. They can die or survive. It depends on the conditions.
It's absolutely fascinating.
So it's an interesting idea that you told that these trees do not indicate the real state of environment. They are not real indicator. In this case, the moss probably, if they are green, they indicate that this environment is suitable for them, and for the humans probably.
Exactly, yeah. Rob, some questions in the chat?
Yes, Erin's put a nice idea in that you could actually add pollutants to the moss, give you a different dimension of the data.
You can use specific chemicals. It's like a copper oxide, which makes moss immediately they die from. So
okay. There's another. Martin apologizes. His internet connection's not great, but he's put a comment in chat, which is this concept of slow information design. There's a thing called slow food, isn't there, and various slow things.
That's
I'm
nice.
slowing down all the time, but slow information design, I really like that. This idea that we tend to glance at everything, don't we? We glance at our smartphone, we get an amazing book full of stuff, and we sort of whip through it. Data visualizations, someone has spent weeks on. I just look at very quickly, move on. Slow information design is when there's a gradual realization. The data's growing on you, and I'm thinking with the time that this takes. You could scale this up so it's in a public place, so as I walk through the rail station every day, I see it change in my daily commute, and I watch it, and I sort of realize what it means, and it has more, perhaps deeper effect on me. I don't know, but I love this idea of slow information design. I'm sort of thinking about how it might work.
That's a nice remark, because usually if you see these expert visualizations, they should be understandable in a second. That's the purpose of them. And in this case, it's a purpose probably to have to facilitate the audience to make reflections on what do you see, what do you think about the climate, what do you think about the change, what do you think, tries to provoke thinking discussion. It's not very pragmatical, let's say. It's more on that emotional level, more like artistic.
I had a sort of related question to that, actually, and apologies because I missed the very beginning of the talk. I was just arrived a little bit late, but I was just interested around the sort of source data that you were maybe putting into the I don't know what you'd call it, the tangible visual expression of that kind of data, because if there is a sort of like a source data that's kind of feeding it, it struck me that it's also like it's a means to sort of make tangible potential future scenarios as well. You know, you could have multiple versions of that model that, you know, offer like the projected scenarios, because I think that those things are increasingly becoming common conversation points, aren't they? I mean, we were talking about, it's very hot in the UK now. Are we becoming the new Barcelona within the next kind of 10 years? And what becomes of Barcelona? So things like that, to be able to kind of plug in different sources of data that maybe make those futures tangible, a very, very powerful way to express that and make it real for people.
Now it's, you know, we see these changes in real life now. Probably this data visualization probably is happening now, because when I started that project, I mean, was thinking about it. It was not, this climate change was not so visible as it is now. Even here in Lithuania, we are quite Nordic countries, so we have like plus 35 in the summer, so it's not quite unusual. So, and what's your question about the source of the data?
Just whether would it be possible to, you know, if you put in data that was like a projection of like the climate data, maybe 30 years hence, it would respond to that data in exactly the same way, I guess, and give you a visualization that maybe relates to a potential future, not necessarily, you know, what we're experiencing right now.
Yeah. This was visualization about, it was a speculative model, and if I put a different model in that bioprinter, it will give you a different image, different impression of the phenomenon. Because now it's like a model which will be in 2100, and if you put it a different data, it could print a very different, probably, the model. The different parts of Europe or Lithuania will be. So this printer can print, as I told before, anything, a picture, but it should be abstract picture, like a very graphical. Anyway, it's still on the experimentation state. So I'm still collaborating with some colleagues, which are electronic geeks. They have also ideas, because to understand how this moss works, I went to the botanical scientists they gave me some suggestions how these mosses grows, and then helped me to identify the moss which I collected in my yard. So we collaborated. So this project probably is quite interdisciplinary, because here collaborated many disciplines like botanical, technical engineering, programming, graphic designer. So it was quite collaborative project. And I think in the future, these kind of projects probably have a potential to be developed.
Possibly answers Petra's question, which is in chat, but yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
you just started to talk about that while I was posting, so thank you.
Yeah, I had but this, you know, we did it like in the garage, you know, it was some very experimental. We didn't expect it, anything from that. It was just, you know, we have motivation to do it, idea, and then that's, of course, the biologists were scientists from the Vilnius University, so I went them to make consultations. But they told we have no idea how to control them. We can say that how it grows in the outside, but how to manage them inside, we don't know. You should do it by yourself. So I made these experiments, as you saw that moss growing machine. So I experimented with amount of light, amount of moisture, and then I understood how much moisture do I need to have such kind of maps.
It would be brilliant if you produced some instructions for somebody like perhaps a school class to try and do this. I think it's great. Because I'm a gardener, and we know in the UK that the climate is changing, and we can't grow quite the same things. And the trend now is to basically look at Mediterranean gardens and try and plant things which don't need water. And so it's very real. You know, this thing, I have to replant my garden is a very kind of visceral way we understand what's going on in the world. So this also reminds me a little bit, we're doing a building project, and we've just got hold of a massive beam of wood, which is about 300 or 400 years old. And the rings tell us about the life of that oak tree 300 or 400 years ago. And I believe scientists can date timber. They do it both ways. They can look at the climate in the past based on the rings of trees whose age is known, and then they can use that data to age other bits of timber. So that's a kind of visualization of the climate in the past, which is an interesting analogy.
Because in my case, you know, I how to say, pragmatic visualizations is quite precise. They have, you know, they describe the phenomena very precisely. In my case, it's just, you know, quite of, it's not so precise, but it gives emotional responses. It has a different purpose, probably. It's not expert visualization.
So you're an exhibition designer, you said in your introduction. And that interests me, because exhibition designers are about communicating in a physical environment and using the physicality of the environment to communicate. Do you think that's obviously has influenced what you've done here? But what are there other things from exhibition design that information designers can learn from?
Probably this inspiration from this project, I told before that I showed that Levmanovich word about reduction. But as I work in the exhibition design that showed the project in the Energy and Technic Museum of Techniques, that was quite challenging project, because we needed to make this exhibition with the elements of interaction. So we did physical objects which you can test, like Tesla, electricity. You can see small atomic plant, and you can interact with these exhibitions panels with information. So tried to do. My job was to make these schemes interactive. If you push, for instance, you see nuclear chain reaction, you can start it by yourself. For instance, you press one button, and then this nuclear reaction begins. I mean, in the scheme. So you do other step, and it's follow. I mean, and then you can test it in the real. So it was quite interesting for me to put in one, like, information design, physical learning, and then emotional flow of interviews. So probably this project was also inspired by my work with the physicality, physical visualization, so physical information design. So probably they are related to what I do.
Catherine.
Yeah, hi. I was going to type something in the comments, but it's still a bit too early for me to formulate the full sentences. I was just thinking, as a follow-up to your talking about the mosses, I think there's a lot of potential for a bioregional approach where different plants might work better in different environments. And I love the idea of this slow information design. And I wondered if, you know, one of the benefits of something that you're developing at a larger scale is that things can change very slowly. The bio map that you showed is one shot. So if you change the watering pattern, even by hand, it could change very, very slowly over time. And instead of being like a sort of quick one shot kind of exhibition experience, it's something that is kind of, you know, embedded in your background experience of everyday life. It could be something more like an outdoor experience that you're walking through or something. So yeah, it was just a thought I had based on that prior comment.
nice thought, because I forgot to mention, because I put some mosques in that map. One was taken in the Germany, one example in Dresden, another one I took in the Prague in the Czech Republic. So they are some of the pixels are from the different places of Europe.
Ah.
It just was interesting experiment.
That's great. And I'm here on the far west coast of Canada, and it's actually boreal rainforest, and I have about 3 different kinds of mosses on the front lawn right now. It's not really a lawn, it's actually just moss and creeping thyme. And it's just so fascinating, now I'm thinking maybe we could turn this into a map, like the whole front lawn could be transformed.
It's interesting what kind of moss, because they are very different. If you in the woods, there are very different mosses. They need a very different environment. This moss grows on the tiles in the city. If you walk outside in the street, you can find them. So they are very livable, because if it's rains, so they flourish. If it's dry, they became very, how to say, small or not visible at all, probably. So it's, as I mentioned before, it's very nice material for expression as a designer.
Be interesting to see a comparison where you had 2 things running, and you could have an alternative future scenario. So you could say, if things were to stay as they are now, this is this one, and if rainfall starts to change because of the climate, it's going to look like this. So to compare what happens if we don't meet the climate targets would be more even more of a sort of physical comparison of the arid future versus the luscious moss that we enjoy today.
Quite a political statement immediately.
Yeah, well,
most information design is about the slow information design. It always reminds me of the steps in a medieval church, or a way we can see actually in the steps going up, that thousands of people must have walked the same steps, because you can actually see how slow that is. And modern buildings, of course, don't have that, but modern buildings don't even have the facility and have the materials to actually show that. If you use concrete, it's not the right way to actually show how often it is used. And I think that's a pity. I think your project shows that that design needs to change while you're talking about it. And as soon as you settle it forever, it loses a lot of its vibrancy. It loses its what you say, the emotional learning. And I think if we can have a little bit of that, and we do that with, when you talk, for example, about the charts of Florence Nightingale, we put the emotional story behind it. Minar's diagram, we put the emotional story behind it, but you need to know the story before you can appreciate the chart. And the nice thing of your maps is you can actually see it. You don't need the emotional story because you can actually see it. And I would hope to have more examples of that. So I'm going to search forever. I want to find out more. But the closest I can get to is the worn out steps in an old building.
Yeah, it leaves a traces of human who
that's
use
it,
them.
Yeah.
Or the keys on your keyboard, which are shinier than others because you've used it for 10 years and
that's it.
Yeah.
But that's an indication of the English language. So,
well, whichever language you're typing in, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to ask photographs of keyboards in different languages and compare them. You can actually check which language people use.
Yeah. It's another gardening thing. I always remember my mother there's this old guy who used to, professional gardener next door to us, and she one Christmas she gave him a brand new stainless steel spade, and he was very distressed. He hated it because he had his spade all his life, and it was all really worn in a pattern which was his record of 50 years of digging. And to him, this was, his life was in this spade. He's very insulted to be given a brand new one. I don't know why I mentioned that, but it's a kind of information design. It's an indicator.
It's an indicator.
Yeah.
Did you publish anything about this in the biological area? Is there any publication or any photographs or any record article in the biology area? Because
About how to grow the moss, you mean?
no, that's clear. But that you use growing moss to show climate change, and to use it as an indicator, not as a.
Yeah. I saw some studies about the moss, which could indicate the pollution in particular chemicals. They are sensitive to that. I saw one study, but it was in I do not remember in what university, but they were responsive to specific chemical. So I didn't find still what it could be used for scientific purposes. So to indicate something like, I don't know, not moisture, but something, pollutions, or I don't know, or emotions.
I think it's the other way around, isn't it? It's like the canary in the coal mine. That's an indicator of gas levels, but using the canaries to not in coal mines, but the other way around. What would that be if you use a canary above ground as a healthy air?
So the moss actually doesn't indicate the quality of environment, because they grow in the cities, so they are probably quite resistant to the pollutions. So they couldn't be used like indicator of environment, but they are very sensitive to moisture, so that's why I use it.
That's it.
So Angela's got a question in chat. Did you find yourself wearing an information designer hat or a scientist hat?
As I told, it's quite inter-transdisciplinary project. Probably I should wear both shoes, scientists and information designer, but and I like the connection between them, even probably engineering hat. So it's a coalition of, how to say, accumulation of all professions, and I like that because you can produce new results.
Martin has a comment. Could information design have a best before tag on it? I'm not quite sure what he means by that, Martin. Don't know if you can explain, but I guess information gets out of date, doesn't it? And you can look at an information display and it's 10 years old and now everything's changed.
Yeah.
So
so fast.
Yeah.
As a graphic designer, I need to learn new tools, and these new tools provides new expressions, probably new kind of style, new design, new probably. Yes.
Do we have any other questions, Sigitas? Okay. Hey, look, let's thanks very much for a really fascinating talk. I'm sort of, my mind's a little bit blown about how I could do something like this, but it's so nice to see something that's so far out of the ordinary and out of my box that challenges me to think, well, I'm not going to do just a boring thing on an A4 page. I'm going to do something that makes more of an emotional impact. So really nice to see. So thanks very much indeed. If there are no more comments, let's just say thanks very much. I'm looking for some sort of icon here I can find if I can find it. Reactions, that's the one where we can clap, can't we? It's not working here, but thank you very much. This has been recorded, and so it will go on our YouTube channel. If you want to recommend it to anyone else, if you want to come back and watch it later. It takes a few days to get up there. But otherwise, thank you so much, Sigitas, and thanks everybody for joining us. And look out for the next one, which will be the beginning of September. And in the meantime, have a great summer, everybody. For whom it's summer. That's not you, Angela, is it? You're in Sydney. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye then.
Thank you for
Bye,
hosting
everybody.
as well.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.